What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. I think that FBA needs to delineate from Africans and Caribbeans. I think FBA should delineate from Africans and Caribbeans completely and totally. And when I say FBA, like I always say, I don't mean African Americans as an ethnic group, because African Americans are the recognized ethnic group on the globe with a recognized culture, right? But those who call themselves FBA, who have the mindset that Pan-Africanism doesn't work, that believe that Pan-Africanism is one-sided, that believe Africans are not Pan-African, that believe Africans don't have the capability of being Pan-African, that believe that Caribbeans are just cosplaying and want to be African Americans, that believe that Caribbeans are not Pan-African, that believe that the only Pan-Africans are African Americans. I think that all those people who believe like that, and they call themselves ADOS because they don't, or ADOS or FBA, because they don't want to be associated with continental Africans. All those who don't believe that they have any cultural ties to Africa. All those who gear towards their 0.0% Indian over their 99.9999% African. All those who subscribe to this, I think they should delineate from Africans. All right? Because it seems that it's a big problem in the FBA community, the things that's going on in Africa, even though most people who call themselves FBA has never been to Africa, never experienced Africa, and they've already made their minds up that Africa and all of its resources cannot benefit them at all. That they, the FBA, the Foundational Black Americans, can rise and elevate as a lineage, ethnic group, club, whatever they want to call themselves, as a group without the help of any Caribbeans, any Africans, and while under attack by white people and being betrayed by POCs. They believe that through the power of sheer will and their own determination and ethnic greatness, they can accomplish all the things that need to be accomplished without the help of anybody. And that they're better off in North America as a concentrated, recognized group of FBA than joining the global black movement, the global black race. I believe if this is what they truly believe, and that they cannot be convinced otherwise, that people like myself cannot convince them, and they have their minds made up that they should in fact delineate. I think that those people who call themselves FBA should start to concentrate on FBA issues that affect FBA directly, right? So let's talk about some of those issues that affect FBA directly. And for argument's sake, I'm going to go ahead and include the issues that affect African Americans, because FBA are African Americans who have decided to delineate in its totality from Africans and Caribbeans, because they want to be their own specific thing, and they don't want their bloodlines diluted, mixed up, or confused by any other African, no matter where that African comes from. They want to just be cousins. All right, so if that's the case, then they should just concentrate on FBA issues. Like in America right now, we are dealing with ethno-nationalism from foundational white Americans. Okay, and the white people in this country are at war with each other. You have the racist Christian white people, the racist Jewish white people. They are at war with each other for the rights to be the number one racists and white supremacists. Then you have the humanistic white people who are battling both of them for the hearts and minds of their white babies in the future of humanity. So it's like a three-way battle, right? And in that battle, we, the black people, we, the, African-American ethnic group, or the smaller xenophobic FBA, we are in the middle of that battle, even though we try to, get out of the way. But we are the target because our rise in ever-growing population, because our population continues to grow here in North America, right, has become noticeable by those whose population are going down. Our ability to grab power politically, right, and I'm not just talking about Obama being a president at one time. I'm talking about in local houses all over America, in local government, state, and federal, African Americans are gaining more and more political power, as well as we're gaining more economic power as our communities and the members of our communities succeed in business. That's happening, right? Our, what we call ghettos, our lower class, have been getting smaller and smaller and smaller as compared to our European national brothers and sisters, as their lower class have been growing bigger and bigger, meaning there are less of us in poverty than them, statistically, and that has also not become unnoticed by those Europeans, right? That's why they try to tell us that we are doing terribly in this country, which is a projection of what they wish was happening, but that's not what's happening. Not what's happening. But we do have some issues. In America, we have tribalistic issues. We still have organizations that were created originally to protect us from hostile POCs and white people. They are called gangs now, right? We have a situation where gang culture persists and it poisons our community because it puts our children, who are our future, it puts them in danger, right? So we must, as a community, right, and FBA should be leading the charge because they are the leaders and they speak for all African Americans as far as they are concerned. They should be pushing towards gangs unifying and reforming themselves into legitimate organizations that benefit and protect the communities instead of terrorizing the communities over streets and territories that no longer belong to them. Because in fact, the original perversion of these gangs is that they needed to be financed, and they financed themselves through the European-sponsored drug pipeline that used to finance their endeavors on the street, give them the money to pay their members and to buy more products, to ever expand their organizations. I think FBA should concentrate on gang culture and convince them to switch products to legal substances, to legal products and legal services that would take them out of the realms of illegality, right? Putting them in the legal framework of any institution, right? And also modify their gangster culture, their aggressive gun culture into something positive, for our community. It's not like it can't be done. It has been done before in the past, and it can be done again if FBA focuses on that. That way, our local communities that suffer from the lack of economic development, from the governments that they don't run, that run their communities. I think they should focus on getting the old heads of these gangs and supporting them financially so that they can, maybe convince them. Like the same energy that is used to try to say Pan-Africanism doesn't work. Since FBA wants to delineate, they should not concentrate on black international affairs, just leave that to the Pan-Africans, while they focus just on the domestic work. of getting the gang culture switched to organized armed militias or organized private security firms or organized protective services or private communal police departments. Put some pride. You can maintain pride. Give your boys something to do, right? Give your boys something to do, right? Something to feel proud about, something they can join at a young age, and they're not being pariahs of the community, but being pillars of the community. I think that's absolutely possible, right? I think FBA should focus on the music that we listen to. FBA should make it cool, right? Push a narrative that self-deprecating music is something we don't tolerate. Self-deprecating music is something that is shunned within our community, and we should be running campaigns to blackball it. And we should put our money where our mouth is. We should start promoting and celebrating music that is meant to ruin the minds of our children. As the music itself, the beat and the rhythm is intoxicating, but the poison is in the words that's inserted inside the beat. We could as easily add different words and have the same euphoric effect without having the poison implemented within that spell, those affirmations. I think we should concentrate on those two things. That will change the way people look at us. That will change the way we look at each other. Okay? That's one. Number two, I think FBA should delineate from Pan-Africanism as far as not wasting their time talking about Pan-Africanism at all. I don't think FBAs should spend any energy talking about Pan-Africanism, as it's something that they're trying to delineate from. As FBA, they want to focus on domestic black issues in America. They don't care about international issues. Now, that's fair enough. Everybody don't have to be involved with global black issues. But FBA can stop talking about global black issues and leave that global black issues to the Pan-Africans. As any organized group of people have different branches. Just like our government, we have branches of the government and organizations that focus purely on nationalistic policies and topics. Then we have international branches of our government and organizations that focus on strictly international politics and policy, right? And at some point they come together, right, in order to benefit each other. Now, I think FBA should stop focusing on Pan-Africanism, as it seems to be the only target that the social media FBA talk about. You see, if your goal is to, improve your community domestically and focus on your own people, and that's the whole point of delineation, then that should be the focus of all energy from henceforth. It should be towards your own people. Wasting time talking about a group of people that you don't want to have anything to do with is counterproductive to any domestic issues and policies that need to be had here, right here in America. Right? Now, talking trash about groups who want to focus on international black issues, that's also a waste of time, and it's counterproductive to your domestic movement in of itself. Because whether you like it or not, there will be Africans from outside of the country coming in to join your ethnic group. There is nothing you can do to stop it. Now, if you believe that there is something you can do to stop it, that's starting to move you over towards the xenophobic, hateful, right-wing, alt-right members of American nationalistic society. And then if that's you, then you really don't care about the black community, and I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the FBA, the people who want to delineate so that black people can focus on black issues here in America. I think we should also put the pressure on our community to learn about politics, because too many people calling themselves FBA don't know anything about politics and how politics works and how it affects us as a community. Yet they want the community to change. If you don't run your communities, you can't change your community. If you don't run your local, your state, your county, you can't change what happened in your local state and county. So FBA should focus on educating themselves on politics so that we as a group of ethnic African Americans can take control of our communities so we can make sure all that tax money that we pay actually goes towards our community. Because the reason why we have communities that are underdeveloped is not because African Americans inherently don't take care of their own stuff. It's because the institutions that's supposed to take care of us do not do it, because the people who are running the show divert that money to white communities. That's why white communities look better than some black communities, because of the people who are running the show, people who create the budgets, right? So we should make it cool to be involved in local politics. Local. We can't just pay attention to who's running the president, who's going to run for presidency. We have to, who is going to be on the school board? We should be running the school board. All local council members should be of us, so that when we put these people in charge, we can hold them accountable. We also should make it cool and create institutions that fund the politicians that we put in charge, so that when we go to them and say we want something done, they have an incentive, because we are supporting them. We are backing them. We are promoting them because they're one of us. You get me? That's what we have to do if FBA is to delineate and make delineation worthwhile. Okay? Now, if you're going to be a mature domestic organization, you got to understand that international things do happen. And you have to deal with international situations as a domestic body. And you leave that to the Pan-Africans, right? Pan-Africans are African Americans who wants to join their other racial ethnic groups, the other racial groups globally, and deal with global issues, economic issues, right? Creating supply lines for African Americans, creating business opportunities for African Americans, creating products and services that African Americans can use right here in America. But in order for that to happen, Pan-Africans must be allowed to do what they do, dealing with all the things that come with international business, international governance, international issues. Now, the same thing that you deal with international issues, you have to deal with domestically. Like here in America, we have to deal with the African American scammers. The same we have to deal with the white American scammers and the Asian American scammers, because we have scammers within our country that will scam us if we don't pay attention. If they find out you're not knowledgeable about what it is you're pursuing, they will try to take advantage of you. That inherently is the crux of scamming. Being taken advantage of because you're not knowledgeable about the thing that you're trying to do. Allowing someone to get one in over you. That's business. That's capitalism. You understand? So we must become masters of business, masters of finance, masters of organization. That's what we must do. Practice group economics within America. We must emulate those that we complain that practice group economics. We see how the Jews operate in New York. We simply need to emulate what they do. Circulate our black dollars within our communities at least 8 times before it leaves our community and goes somewhere else. Right? No matter what that black organization is. Now, if a Caribbean or African has established a business within your community and they're paying taxes and they're serving your community, you should support them over the Chinese establishment that's serving the same thing. Now that, in fact, is a Pan-African action, even if you're not a Pan-African. But at the moment, we don't have too many African Americans servicing us the way some Caribbeans and Africans are serving us, because they come from a place where they don't have many jobs. Everybody makes their money because they have to run a business. That's one thing we get misconstrued in America, is since we've created an institution of employment, people see people coming here to America starting businesses as, oh, they're better than us, or they have all this money, when in fact that's the only thing they know how to do, because the rest of the world, you have to run a business. You don't get a job. America is a place where there's plenty of jobs. The rest of the world don't have plenty of jobs. The only means of income is to run a business, to provide a service or to provide a product. So they come here doing the only thing that they know, which is providing a service or providing a product, right? So if you have black businesses within your community and they're respectable, you should support those businesses because that still keeps the money within your community. And in turn, that African, that Caribbean should be spending their money within the community, and you should hold them account for that. You understand what I mean? Whether it be hiring African-American contractors, right? Whether we're hiring African-American workers, they should be held to account. If we service them, they service us. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. That's fair enough. Understandable, right? And we should support those black businesses, those African-American businesses, those FBA businesses that try to stand up. We should support them with our money, right? But we should hold them to account and require them to have top-notch service, top-notch quality, what do you call it? Customer service, right? We should hold them to the highest standard of quality, whether they're providing us a product or a service, right? And in turn, we should support those businesses. Because if a black person in America, African-American, starts a business and we don't support them, and that's because we want to go to the big box stores, we want to go to the convenience stores, the huge stores owned by those Europeans, then we can't complain about black businesses because we don't support those businesses we say we want. We have to support those businesses, right? The key is economics is to keep spending black within your community as local as humanly possible, to support the small businesses that we create instead of using the convenience of the big box stores and corporations, because what they do is they know they can undercut small businesses because they're so big and they have so much money, and they have 1,000 lawyers that can figure out how to get money from the government to subsidize their products and services in order to undercut smaller businesses, only to raise their prices later on when they destroy those businesses. That's how it works. Big box corporation come in, they lower the price so that you think it's more convenient to go to those stores. And then once the smaller stores that had to pay, they had a higher price because that was the normal rate, you decide not to support them, they go out of business. And as soon as the big box corporations realize that all those small businesses are out of business, then they raise their rates and you have no choice but to go to them. This is the method, the economic method that all corporations use when moving into a local area. Remember all the mom and pop stores that used to be around before Walmart came along. Now Walmart is the biggest employer in America because they destroyed most of the small businesses within the black community and the white community, in every community. Now people, they bank at Walmart, they work at Walmart, they grocery shop at Walmart instead of the little mom and pop stores. So we have to promote with our dollars our local businesses, FBA. Now, as far as reparations, you must understand that if you truly believe that reparations is something that we can reach, even though I do not believe that white people will ever give us reparations, because in the history of mankind, the conqueror has never just willingly gave back what they stole from the people that they've conquered. All right? So in order for us to get reparations, we have to run the organization that's in charge of cutting us the reparations check. That means we have to get involved more in national politics, state politics, federal politics. That means we need to push those politicians that has proven to us in the local council seats, in the school boards. We need to push them to the state level. If they do good on the state level, mayor, governor, Democrat, whatever political party that they run with, if they do something for us and they work for us, then we push them to the federal level. And we have to promote African American politicians. Now, if there is a politician that is from the Caribbean, but lives and operates within our communities and has benefited our communities, we should also support them. It only makes sense because they have benefited us, and we should benefit them, especially if they're going to continue to work for us. And we have to make sure we finance them. That means all you FBA companies, you corporations, institutions that have money to support candidates, whether it be money or whether it be time, We need to do that, put some effort towards that. Instead of making a bunch of videos about why black people should engage with their brothers and sisters on the global scale, we should put that energy towards why we should support this local politician, and then hold those politicians accountable for the things that they do. And if they do not work for us, we fire them. Complete and total control of our politicians that we finance and push within our communities. If we don't do this, someone else will come and they will finance those politicians, or they will sway the politicians to do what they want for their communities. So once we control as much politics as we possibly can, which as a group, we must understand African Americans as a ethnic group is the biggest ethnic group in America. We are very powerful politically if we put our minds towards it and we were to work together. That's why the powers that be do everything they can to have us sit on the couch. They pay our snakes in the grass to tell us to sit on the couch. They tell us and make us believe that politics doesn't work for us, that it's a scam. It's only a scam when you don't use it. You don't wield the power that you do have. Everybody knows African Americans sway elections. Now, if we were to sway the elections towards what it is we want over a long period of time, and understand nothing comes like that, politics takes a while. We're talking about decades, centuries worth of concentrated work. That's a long game. We have to think long term. So if FBA is going to delineate on the global scale, they need to hyper concentrate on local politics. If you're not involved in politics, you're not involved in nothing. Let me say that again. If you are not involved in politics, you are not involved in nothing. You're just flapping your gums, but nothing is happening, because nothing of consequence is coming out. Like I said, if you don't control the means of your community's economic change, then you will never see your community economically change. So as much as you don't like the dirty business of politics, you must get involved and understand that politics is dirty. You got to be willing to get dirty. The same way FBA can run their mouths and talk trash about African Americans trying to unify on the global scale, it's time for FBA to run their mouths against all these other groups that mean to do African Americans harm within America. Use that energy for the domestic fight that's necessary. Leave Pan-Africanism to the Pan-Africans. Don't besmirch or belittle Pan-Africanism, because a lot of people who want to concentrate on domestic things don't understand what Pan-Africanism is, and they don't understand the importance of Pan-Africanism. You see, Europeans have allies, and they use those allies to hold us down. They use those allies when they need resources to compete with us. They use those allies, just like Donald Trump would like to use allies and bring more white people into America to bolster their domestic population. Just like white allies create the United Nations and NATO so they can keep other African countries and Asian countries economically small, so that America, the domestic situation, we can stay strong and powerful. You see, white Americans use Canada and use various other European countries in order to keep their domestic situation tight, to keep things coming in, to keep the money flowing, to get resources. So just like they do that, we have to do the same thing. That's what Pan-Africanism is supposed to do. Just like those Asian people from those hair salon places and their nail techs, just how they can dip into their country. They can go back to the old country. They go to Asia and they bring supply lines and they bring people and they bring resources to build their businesses and bolster their communities. That's how they are successful. How the New Yorks in New Jersey, how the Jews in New York and New Jersey, they go to Israel and they bring their resources and people back and forth to bolster the domestic community within New York and New Jersey and various other places that they control within America. But there's way more African Americans there than there are Jewish people. Do you understand? We are so big in number in America, we outnumber the Jewish people in Israel and in America together. And it's not even close. Our economic power is so powerful. If we were to concentrate on that, we can control everything. We have the intellect, we have the money, we have the numbers. FBA needs to delineate and concentrate on that and allow Pan-Africans to deal with the scamming in Africa. to deal with the scamming and the backsliding and the tribalism in Africa, to fix that relationship. You see, Pan-Africanism is a new thing, not something we're trying to get back to. And when you think of Africa, you need to think of 55 different countries. The unification is of race, but you still have to deal with the domestic issues on the ground. The same way we have to deal with our domestic issues here, because FBA must realize that African Americans are not unified within America. There are different cultures within America, depending on your geographical location. There are different groups of African Americans that don't get along for historic reasons. There are issues within the African American community that we have to handle that saddle us down when we could be moving forward. So the same thing that we have to deal with, other people have to deal with on a grander scale, because Africa is 4 times bigger. Listen, I'm a Umar Johnson this. Africa is 4 times bigger. Let me say it one more time. Africa is 4 times bigger than you see on that map. You're talking about 55 different countries made up. You're talking about thousands of different kinds of Africans. Thousands. Just like we say African Americans are not a monolith. We can go to different parts of America, which is one country, and see several different kinds of African Americans who do not relate to each other, even though we're all African Americans. You can go to Caribbean and see several different kinds of Caribbean who do not relate to each other, but they're all Caribbean. You can go to South and Central America and find several different kinds of Africans who all speak Spanish or Portuguese, but they don't relate to each other, even though they speak the same language. So if that is the case, what makes you think that a continent, not a country, a continent, not a country, a continent, not a country, with 55 different countries, with thousands of different ethnic groups, are going to all of a sudden fix all of their problems within 65 years. You see, when 1965, when we finally got our little bit of piece of American pie, those African countries were just being liberated from colonization. The leaders of those countries are still the same leaders from colonization, from before colonization. They need time to find that thing called Pan-Africanism. And all the Pan-Africans in Africa were assassinated by your government, FBA. The same government that assassinated our revolutionary leaders within America, FBA. That's the part you miss when you say there's no Pan-Africanism in Africa. Every single person who attempted Pan-Africanism has been assassinated by your government, FBA, the same government that assassinate your revolutionary leaders, FBA. Understand, your government, FBA, looks at you the same way they look at Africa, as a threat to America. And America means white. You are an African American. If you were really an American, there would be no such thing as African American, Asian American, Indian American. You always will have an asterisk to these Europeans because they are American. That was meant for them, not for you. But we are in fact American. And America is in fact us. This whole country should be called Africa America, not America, to be honest. And we can have an Africa America. And we can take all the resources that America has developed off the backs of our ancestors, our African ancestors. So I think FBA needs to delineate and concentrate on domestic issues and allow the Pan-Africans to concentrate on international issues, to fix the rift that's been created by that same white man that assassinated our leaders and assassinated their leaders. That same white man that pumped in your head for decades upon decades that Africans ain't nothing but a bunch of age-infested, tribalistic people fighting each other for what? The same white man that taught those Africans that you ain't nothing but a gangster, sex-crazed problem. Lazy. Even though your ancestors worked for 400 years for free. But somehow you lazy. And somehow that white man convinced them that you lazy. Because that same educational system that you know that failed America, it's that same educational system that's failed Africa. That British educational system. Because America is just Europe 2.0. It's Britain 2.0. You got to understand that this shit is complex. What we don't have time to do is fight. We need to hold those accountable who make content because they make money trashing both Africans and African Americans and Caribbeans. Because if you will make content trashing Africans and African Americans and Caribbeans, if you make, because you had a couple bad experiences, or you know, one or two people that had bad experiences, then you are an agent of white supremacy. Because them dead presidents, them dead slave owners are worth more than the Africans and the African Americans and the Caribbeans that are alive today. So we have to have a little bit of wherewithal about ourselves. We got to have a little bit of, what do you call, integrity. You can't pay for that. That's priceless. Right? So as a Pan-African, you know, I'm an African American. I'm proud to be called an African American because I'm never going to not be connected to Africa. I know where black power comes from. The phrase black power comes from. I'm educated enough to know that black is English for negro. Negro is Portuguese and Spanish for black. And that negro is a word that Europeans took because of the Niger people, the Niger Delta Congo people, which are us, African. I know where my black power comes from. I know where my root is. I'm not naive. I know that there were Africans who participated in the transatlantic slave trade, willingly and unwillingly. But that also means that they were Africans who were victims of other Africans transported into the transatlantic slave trade. And I won't abandon them for the coons that took them coins over their people. And I won't blame all of Africa for those infractions. And just like we had coons on the continent who sold us into the transatlantic slave trade, which represented 1 out of billions. There were coons on a plantation that snitched on the Africans that dared to escape for freedom. And there were coons who fought for the Confederacy against the freeing of the slaves. And there are coons in the government right now who campaign for a neo-Nazi president. That's whole agenda is to eliminate black power in America, to eliminate our ability to vote properly in America, who is currently right now trying to jerry-rig districts so that black people are not represented, so that we lose actual political power in this country. That we ain't got coons in the goddamn Supreme Court that's been the architect of the downfall of many black policies that our ancestors and our elders fought and died for. There will always be coons, whether they're FBA coons or African coons or Caribbean coons. That is a reality. But that doesn't mean I'm going to throw away my people. So let the Pan-Africans do what Pan-Africans do and try to fix those things that need fixing. Let the Pan-Africans go over there and try to figure out the proper ways to do business. Laying the foundation of economic cooperation between continental Africans. Let those who have the knowledge go spread that knowledge to those who don't have the knowledge. Because if you don't have the knowledge, you just don't know what to do. Those who have the knowledge will go over there and they will figure it out. They will do the hard thing. African Americans shouldn't have to do the hard thing by ourselves. And we should expect continental Africans to do their part too. As Pan-Africanism is not a one-way street. Pan-Africanism is multiple streets. It's a superhighway that we are currently building. And while we're building it, there will be sacrifices. There will be delays. There will be bad work done. There will be blockages and all things that will stop us. But eventually that superhighway will be created. And all of us globally will benefit from it. So our job as, African Americans, and your job as FBA should be to fix the America that we want, to fix our communities so that when those continental Africans make their way on that superhighway over to our side, that we can receive them the same way we expect them to receive us when we go that way. So that we can benefit them economically the same way we expect them to benefit us when we go that way. so we can root out the snakes in the grass, so we can root out the poison within our food, so that we can feed them and nourish them safely, the same way we expect them to do the same thing for us when we go that way. No one is saying African Americans shouldn't be African American. No one is saying that we shouldn't have our own distinct, group of people recognized globally. And I don't think that's a problem. I think out of all the people on the planet, I think African Americans are distinctly recognized throughout the world. I really don't think it's a problem, but I think that we can improve our own image and control our own image, because it's time. It's time for us to control our own image. Too long we've let other people tell the world who we are. And because of that, they have a distorted view of who we are. It's time for us to start writing our own story from this point on. So FBA, you should delineate, but make it count. And don't delineate in hate. There's no point. If your job, if your mission in life is not to go to Africa and reconnect, if that's not your job, that is okay. If your job is to stay within your ethnic group of African Americans and improve African Americans, that is a noble job. There's nothing wrong with that. And you should do that to the best of your ability. But what you should not do is waste time talking trash or waste time sowing poison and disunity amongst those who do want to connect to their brothers and sisters on the continent and do the hard work. And if you are a Pan-African, understand this. When you go over to do the work, humans are still humans. You can get scammed. If you look like food, you're going to get eaten. And it's just that simple. No matter where you go on this planet, whether it's in Detroit, California, Mexico, Utah, China, Thailand, Bahrain, Nigeria, Ghana, UK, if you look like food, you're going to get eaten. It's just that simple. And you don't ever conflate that with a group of people as if it's inherently because of these people. That's the human nature. Because at the end of the day, we're all humans. And humans have a proclivity to take advantage of those who are weak. Don't be weak. So yeah, as a Pan-African, I say FBA should delineate. Delineate and make it count. Leave the Pan-Africans to do the Pan-African thing. And if you decide you want to switch departments, go right ahead. No problem. If you decide you want to be the department that holds Pan-Africans accountable to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be able to do, they're doing what their part is, then you should go ahead and do that. But do it in good conscience and do it in good faith. It's not a competition. There is no competition between us. It should be nothing but collaboration and coordination, because our competitors are out there. And despite whether you get with the program or you don't, they are attacking us because they have nothing to lose. You understand? Anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Ain't nobody trying to argue with you all damn day, bro. Shut the fuck up. Damn.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan.
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.